feel like I should hear everyone's, name, age, group, where they swim, what they like to swim, stuff like that.
Beautiful. Have at it. I will call them out. Haley Volchek.
Cool.
Tell them who you
Hi.
are, where you swim, what group you're in.
I swim in Riverside Brookfield. I'm in gold. And my favorite thing to swim is probably either the 100 or the 200 free.
All right, Connor Buck. You got to unmute, buddy.
Connor, you're muted.
I swim at Westmont, and I'm in silver too. And my favorite race is probably 50 or 100 breasts.
Nice. Lauren O'Connor. Or as we lovingly call her, Loco.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lauren, and I swim at the Aurora location, and I'm on Elite. And my favorite event to swim is two back.
Grace Hagemaster.
Hi, I'm Grace Hagemaster, and I'm on the Aurora Elite team. My favorite event is 100 back.
Emily Raigula.
I'm Emily. I swim at the Bartlett Elite team, and I swim the 200 free.
Excellent. Brett Westbrook.
Hi, I'm Brett. I swim at Springfield. I'm in the elite group, and my favorite event is probably either the 500 or 1,000.
Oh, I like it. Shauna Gordon.
Hi, I'm Shauna. I swim at Aurora, and my favorite event is either the 200 or 500 free.
Sadie Murphy.
I'm Sadie. I swim at Riverside, the Riverside site. I'm in the gold group, and I like a lot of events.
Nice. Oh, hi, Lauren Payton. Matt Ozog.
With the Bartlett seniors, and favorite event is the 100 fly.
Nice.
Jess.
I'm Jess Giuliani, and I swim for the Aurora Elite team, and my favorite event is 100 back.
Cool, nice. 100 back.
Smurf. Smurf, where'd you go?
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Try it again.
Am I back?
Start over.
Okay. I'm Sarah. I'm in gold. I swim at Westmont, and my favorite event is two back.
Nice.
Aiden Puck. Aiden, unmute.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You get Aiden.
Yeah, I like the two fly and the mile. And yeah, I swim at Westmont.
Cool.
Nina Mullen.
Hi, I'm Nina Mullen. I like to swim 200 IM, and I'm on Elite at Bartlett.
Nice.
Nice. Who's Katie down there? Is that Katie O'Connell?
Hi, I'm Katie. I swim at Bartlett, and I'm on Elite, and my favorite event's the 200 IM. 200 and 400 IM.
Nice.
Are you running with your mom? And is she beating you?
No, she's behind me. I have to wait for her.
Just making sure.
Sounds like a challenge. All right, so guys, we're just talking to Tyler Klatt. Tyler, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. First question, how are you getting along during this crazy time?
I'm getting along just fine. Just a lot of online classes and sitting around. The weather started to get really nice, so we've gone to the park and thrown the frisbee around, played some spike ball, me and my roommates. So it's been all right.
That's good to hear. Everybody's healthy in your family too?
Yep, everything's going well back home.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Well, welcome. We have been meeting with some people each week and give these guys some different insights, and I think you've got a pretty good, some pretty good stories to tell across the spectrum of your swimming career. So We're going to start when he was young, junior high and younger. Well, first of all, how old were you when you started swimming on a swim team? And
I started swimming.
Where was that?
I started swimming for the Bartlett Electric swim team when I was 6. And then, I did the summer programs, the Bartlett Barracudas, but started swimming for Best when I was 6. And then, in junior high is when, actually going right into my freshman year is when we merged with Bullets.
Sure. So when you first started swimming, what was your favorite stroke?
Oh, it was always backstroke. It's been backstroke from the start. And, I liked backstroke when I was younger because I could always breathe. But by the end of my swim career, backstroke was, mostly underwater for me.
Right. True story. So once you started swimming, what was your draw to it? What made you stick with it when you were young? I mean, a lot of kids will try it and not stick with it, and we like the ones who stay. But what was your draw to swimming?
It was just a fun way to, spend my time after school. I always liked being active. I always liked doing stuff, and I was good at swimming when I was young. I felt very comfortable in the water. So it was something I just stuck with because I enjoyed it. It was a good after-school program for me.
Awesome. So Bartlett Electrics, what was your highest, as you came along, what was the highest level meet you qualified for?
The highest level meet that I had qualified for was
with
state. Just state in the 100 back, I think.
What age?
That was 13, 14, 13, 14. 13, 14, 100 back. I went a 59-2.
Okay, qualified for state, 13, 14. You get to the end of the summer after you're in your 8th grade year, and all of a sudden, Bartlett Electrics is no more. How did you feel at that point?
I don't know. It was one of those weird moments where everything about swimming was about to change. I was either going to go to a different club or my club was going to start looking really different. And actually that summer beforehand, I tried cross-country club for the high school. The high school was running their, summer camp before the season starts. And I tried that because I was like, maybe I'll switch to do cross-country now that I'm in high school. But I tried that, didn't like it, and decided, I was going to stay with Bullets. I was going to see what the change had to offer.
All right, so Bartlett becomes Bullets, completely new coaching staff. I'm guessing a new coaching style. Those first few months, what was the biggest difference you saw with the change as far as the style of being coached?
I don't know. Everyone was excited to have Jeremy there. Everyone was excited for the change from Marcelo was our old coach. He was fine, but the change was actually very exciting. Every practice started to go really well, and I just started to be excited to be there. And there was a real drive to just make yourself better at practice, especially those it built up every day, more and more.
Sure, that's awesome. So you had, at that point you were turning 15, your freshman year of high school. And in December, at that point you had regional cuts. You didn't have senior state cuts. In December, we went to the Nike Challenge up in Waukesha. Do you remember what happened at that meet already in December?
I do remember what happened. Yeah, I went a 54 something in my 100 back to qualify for state. And 54 is when I first had my goal meeting with Jeremy at the beginning of the season. 54 was my goal. I was like, if I hit 54, this is a really good season for me. And I did that 3.5, 4 months in. So I was like, oh, wow, what's going to come with the end of the season? Because I really felt like I was just getting started by December.
So I'm guessing that gave you a lot of confidence. I mean, here you are just a few months in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think after that meet is when either right before that meet or right after that meet is when I joined the elite team for Bullets too. Because January. I was like, yeah, it was January, right? It was right after that meet that I was like, okay, let's give this a serious go. And
how did that transition go for you from the senior group to the elite group?
Oh, it went really well because I was just really excited to join it. I was just really excited to be there especially Saturday practices, like be training against the people who are, the upper elite of my team who I haven't really gotten the opportunity to train with yet.
Excellent. So you're training with Elite January, February. You go to Senior State, and tell us what happened there.
Well,
hold on, I'm going to interrupt you. Remember, we're only 3 months away from your very first state cut. And then how did you approach Senior State and what happened there?
Well, the goal was 53 something. That was NCSAs, and I was like, why not go for it, right? And so felt really good in practice, and I got there, and it was like the first day of the meet. Isn't it usually like relays or something like that?
I believe you didn't even wait for the 100 back event.
Yeah, exactly. I time trialed the day before to get the cut, and I got it. It was really cool. I think I was there for a relay or something too, but yeah, I was just really excited to do it because I was really confident that I could, and the first opportunity I could, I went for it. Yeah, and I went 52.8, 52.7, 52 high, something like that.
52.8.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are. Now you're less than a year. You're 7 months removed, basically, from your old team disappearing, your new team coming in. You had to be riding high.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It was a really, I don't know, it was a 180. It was a 180 in my swimming career and what I was, previously hoping for my swim career. Yeah, it was a really big 180, and it was really exciting.
Do you remember what happened like in the 200 back at that? Did you improve in the 200 back?
Yeah, I did. I went 154 something, which was like extremely okay. I was hoping to go a lot faster then, but I think I was just so excited by getting my one cut. I had already done as much as I could for that meet,
It's a learning process. You had to learn how to continue on. I get that. So 10 days later, you got on a plane, you went to Orlando. What was your first NCSA Junior National experience like?
Just super exciting. A place that, I walked in and I was immediately like, if you would have asked me even, 4 months ago, I would never expect to be at such a national scale of a swim meet. Walking into the pool was, just flying on a plane for a swim meet. I'd flown on a plane before. That was nothing exciting, but I was getting on a plane solely to go race. And that was just super exciting. And I wasn't too nervous. I had felt like I did everything I could have hoped for this season, and I should just, learn the ropes of NCSAs at this point. Kind of go enjoy it, race as fast as I can,
and
know what to expect for next year.
How did that first meet go for you?
I think it went fine. I don't even remember it that much. I remember more state that year. But I remember overall just being a good experience that I got to bond with some teammates I didn't think I'd get to bond before, like Nick Hossman. Nick Hossman and I weren't super close growing up on Bullis, but here we are rooming in Orlando together. And John Thielen, who was later a teammate of mine for a year. And, yeah, really cool.
Awesome. Coach Jeremy, do you remember his first experience in Orlando at all?
Not really, to be honest. He was probably around where he was at state. I mean, the plan was to, hit the cut at state and then go and just have a good experience, swim and kind of get the lay of the land and then, be more competitive later on, which is kind of how things worked out.
Sure. So Tyler, you've been riding this big wave. You got that senior state cut in December. Come March, now you get your Orlando cut. You go to Orlando for the first time. Now you come back for your first long course season with the Bullets. You've already got your NCSA Junior National cut. You know you're going to the meet.
Mm-hmm.
How does your mindset change?
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach your training at that point, knowing that is your taper meet now?
Well, to be honest, I don't know if I really focused too much on it, especially my first season back. That was my first real season of, like, I'm going to actually try at long course swimming. I think before that I'd only raced it a couple of times. So I think looking back on the season, I was more focused on how do I race these races? How do I swim long course? And then when NCSA came, trying to even think of that season. I'm sure I dropped some time, but those were from times that, were the random swims here and there over past summers.
Sure. Now, your freshman year, I'm looking back. Did you compete for your high school team?
No, I didn't.
No.
The only year I competed for my high school team was my sophomore year, so 2013 or 14.
And what was your thought process in deciding to swim for your high school team?
Matt Lee and I had talked about it. Matt Lee was a former bullet swimmer as well who grew up with me on Best. And he asked me to join it. He really wanted me to join it that season. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And I did really enjoy high school. And that's maybe one of my bigger regrets looking back, because I wish I would have swam high school more often.
Is there a particular reason? Is there?
Yeah, definitely. When I look back on my club swimming career, I was really focused about dropping times. I really wanted to drop times, better times, personal bests. Whereas
Did I lose you? You guys hear me?
when I got to college, that was a big adaptation for me, because dual meets were, well, I don't really care what your time was. You got to beat the person next to you. We got to get the points to win the meet.
Sure. Yeah, definitely a different perspective right there. So, sophomore year Orlando, do you remember anything specific about that meet that stands out?
I'm trying to remember if that's the year I was put on the 800 free relay. It was either my sophomore year. Oh, maybe that was my senior year. I'm thinking of the wrong year entirely. I remember it going well, but not as well as I had hoped my sophomore year. NCSAs.
Okay. Do you, looking at the NCSA meets, the winter meet can be different than the summer meet?
Mm-hmm.
What are those differences that you remember?
From which meets? The summer meet to the winter meet?
Yeah, Orlando versus Indy in the summer.
It's maybe a different environment, especially just because, like, in one year in Orlando, there's kind of, especially when you're newer to the NCSA scene, you're like excited to be in Orlando. You're seeing the Comic-Con people, and you're next to Disney and everything. By the way, do you guys still see Comic-Con people? Is it still going on?
Once in a while, we run into some of the Gen Con stuff in Indy in the summer sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't really actually view summer and winter too different, I don't think. It was still that culmination of the season where I was there to do what I could to be as fast as I could.
Sure. So you mentioned relays. Talk to us about your experience. Talk about the 800 free relay. Talk about, what it's like to make a relay at a big meet like that on our team.
It's a super exciting experience, especially because when you get it, you know that you've earned it, especially because of how many, people are on our team, how competitive those spots are. And so I had just swam the 200 back, and I think this was my senior year that I was put on this relay. And I had a good race, and I think you and Mike came up to me and you're like, you're going to be in the 800 free relay. And I was like, oh, wow. I haven't swum the 200 free since like a dual meet, but okay. And then they were like, oh, and you're going to go last. I was like, okay, cool. And it was, the lane full of NCAP people. And I was super nervous going in, but as soon as I got into the race, I remember feeling extremely comfortable and that my walls were really good. And we still got 8th. We got 8th in the heat, but that was enough to do it to get us on the podium. So that was super exciting.
Yeah, I remember that. It was awesome. Did you ever make a relay at NCSA swimming backstroke?
Yeah, I did. I was on a few medley relays. I was on a 200 medley that I remember went very well. I think I broke a team record in the 50 back off a 200 medley relay my senior year. Yeah, it's super fun to be on relays, especially when, we have such good seating sometimes and you see just like the sea of neon or whatever color shirt we're all wearing today, right behind you. Um, so yeah, it's super exciting and definitely something everyone should, strive to be on, even if it's not the A relay or the B relay. There's always opportunities to be on a relay, and yeah, be excited when you get on one for sure.
Absolutely. So now you're going through high school, whether, swam high school for a year, swim club the rest of the time. Now we get into college recruiting. Talk about early in the college recruiting process. What was your initial thought process into what you were looking for?
I didn't really know what I was looking for at first. I was kind of just talking to anyone who would want to talk to me. But as I went through it and started making decisions on trips, it was clear when I look back on it, I was looking for a bigger program. I wanted to go somewhere, that was fast and big and was racing fast people because I wanted to show I could hang with that, race fast people as well. And so, yeah, I went on trips to a few different places that range from, medium big to big. And I actually ended up probably going at the biggest one, which was Minnesota.
So first off, did you enjoy the recruiting process?
I didn't not enjoy it, but I definitely wouldn't want to do it again. It's definitely once it was over with the second time, I'm definitely glad to not need to do it again. That's for sure.
All right. So, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm doing this out of my recollection. I want to say it came down to a couple of schools for you. One had offered you some money, and one had offered you books. Can you went to Minnesota? Can you talk about why you made that choice ultimately?
Because I was confident in myself at the time that I'd be going in. So I went to Minnesota. They only gave me books. I had an offer from West Virginia, as well as an offer from a couple private schools. But the offer, it doesn't help enough when you're a very expensive private school. So I went with the University of Minnesota because they were on books, and for a public school, it was an okay price, and my parents said they could financially help me. Especially because I was confident. I was like, I can go in there and be of value to this team, and I can, earn more money later. And I think that was ultimately why the decision was made.
Fair enough. And how was your experience? Tell us about your freshman year at Minnesota.
Well, I have actually really nothing bad to say about Minnesota. I liked my experience there a lot. For a large state university, it's a very good school. The swim program's really good. Kelly knows what he's doing. They got really good divers, which is it's cool to be on a program with good divers. But I did realize something very quickly while I was there, and that was at our senior meet. Just like high schools, every college does their senior meet, and I watched all of my seniors on the blocks, and I was like, "Oh wow, in 4 years that's going to be me." And I didn't know if I wanted to go through all of college focusing only on swimming. Because if I wanted to be of value to that team, I need to just put, everything I had energy-wise into swimming, nothing into school. So that's really why I decided to transfer. I wanted to be of value to a team, but also be able to not have such pressure on swimming, make swimming like it was when I was growing up. It was just something to, it was a good after-time school activity for me.
Okay, so you decided to leave. Did you have a place in mind immediately,
Nope.
or did you open up your recruiting again, so to speak?
So actually, when I was done with Big Tens at Minnesota, I had pretty much made up my mind that I was going to quit because I was like, well, if I'm here, I'll just stay here and focus on school. But I realized kind of late in the game that wasn't the right idea. I wanted to continue on with swimming. It wasn't a good idea to quit it. So I told the head coach at Minnesota at the very end of the school year, which started me in the recruiting process kind of late. But at that point, I put my name out there to coaches that I thought I would be of good value and I could really focus on my education there. And yeah, Dave was one of the guys Dave Dennison, the head coach of Wyoming, was one of the guys who got back to me pretty quickly and offered me a trip out here to visit.
Awesome. So I skipped a step. How did you swim at Minnesota at Big Tens and what have you?
Oh, I swam really well, actually. I dropped down from a 148 200 backstroke to a 146.5 200 backstroke.
Awesome.
I dropped a lot of time in my 2IM. When I first got there, they were kind of like, "What's your third event going to be?" And I wanted to do the 100 fly, but they were like, "No, you're going to do 2IM." Then I was like, "Okay, fine. I like the 2IM." And I dropped down, I think, from a 157 to a 149 that season. So that was really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
it actually went really well. I was one of the few freshmen who got to go to Big Tens. I got a letter with them. So, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So it sounds like, it became clear in your mind that while you enjoyed it, you were looking for something a little bit different. You went to visit Wyoming. Did you sign on the spot?
I did. I signed maybe 8 or 9 hours after I was here. Got in, saw campus, met Dave, everything fit right, and yeah, I didn't hesitate. No, I'm glad I didn't.
Awesome. So how has your experience been there now that you've had 3 years there, right? You're wrapping up?
Yep, wrapping up. It's been awesome. It's been really awesome. Team here is really, really close. I have some of the best friends, I'll ever have here. I got to be a lot of a part of things swim-wise that was really special, My sophomore year here, the first year I was here, we won a championship. We won a conference championship. So that was super special for everyone. I got to be on A relays, swim against, people who are really competitive for me. And it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Awesome. So are you going to graduate this spring?
I'm not going to graduate this spring. I actually have a full extra year here.
What is your degree going to be in?
I'm getting 2 degrees, one in psychology and one in philosophy, and then I'll have 2 minors, one in Latin and one in religious studies.
And do you have a plan to do with what you're going to do with that moving forward?
Well, nothing's quite certain right now with COVID, right? But this summer, I'm hopefully working for our university archive to help archive, important documents, files that they collect. And then I think long-term career, I'd like to be a firefighter. So after I'm done with my, degree here, I'm going to start looking around for places I kind of want to settle and start working.
Nice. So out there in Wyoming, what's there to do for fun? Are you riding horses out there?
No, I wish. Actually, one of our coaches has a horse, and he's always offered. So let's go out riding sometime. But nope. In the winters, it's a lot of bundling up, running from practice to campus. Oh, there's the bell. I'm actually on campus right now. I get better Wi-Fi service here than I do at my house. So yeah, in the winters, a lot of people go skiing. A lot of people go snowshoeing. I mean, we're so close to so much. 15 minutes that way, there's a lot of rock climbing and hiking. 45 minutes that way, there's the mountains. We're really close to Denver, so sometimes people go down to Denver for the night.
Sure.
So yeah, it's a really nice atmosphere here. Really small local town.
That's awesome. I think this is an excellent story that you've been telling about, your career, and I want to open it up to some of you guys that are here, coaches. I'd love to hear from the coach, Jeremy, if you've got something you'd like to add or talk about Tyler or ask him questions since you haven't really seen him in a while. Well, even some of his old teammates who popped on here, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, if anybody wants to chat, they can have at it. I will say about Tyler that he always thought big. I mean, I think there was never, and this, it's a good thing, I think he ended up in some cases maybe biting off more than he could chew, but he always thought big. He was always looking for ways to do something bigger and better, and we'd give it a good go, and then that's how he found where his limit was, and then he'd try and work out a way to break through that. I think that worked out very well for him developmentally, as he learned how to handle coming up short with some of his big ideas. He got a lot better. I mean, there was one point, I think after he went 206, long course 2 back.
205, 205,
205.7. My bad. Yeah, 205.7. His sophomore year. He said, you know what? I want to start going. I'm going to go 12 and a half yards off of every wall in practice, and off of every single wall. I said, dude, that's going to be really hard to do. And he said, I'm going to do it. So we had enough space at the time where we just gave him his own lane. We tied a rope at 12 and a half. And I think the first practice he tried it, he tapped out after the warm up, but we tried it for a whole week, and he got better at it every time. But we scrapped that after I think a week, because it was just counterproductive.
Yeah, it was a bit unreasonable.
But there was a lot of that where he was, hey, let's try and do this, and then I'd say, dude, that's probably a little beyond you right now, and he'd say, well, let's give it a go anyway. And then we'd go through the whole process. But I tell you what, I'd rather have that than try and pull somebody kicking and screaming towards big ideas like that. It was, I think he definitely earned every ounce of success that he had. So.
Thank you. All right, who's got questions? Swimmers.
Hey, Brian, can I add something to what Jeremy just said about Tyler?
Of course.
Tyler used to come. Tyler talked about how much he loved Saturdays. My favorite time was seeing Tyler on Saturdays. Tyler was the kid that wanted to race the biggest and the fastest person, no matter what we were doing, and did not care what the set was. He was going to go after them. And it was, Tyler, I'm going to be blunt on this one. We've had 2 other people on here that have talked about what their least favorite bullet set was. And I think you know the set that I'm talking about, and I'm not going to say the name. But Tyler was not in the group that ever did that set. And Tyler wanted to do that set with them, even though he didn't need to, just to say he did it. That was the way Tyler was. Like, he always had to challenge himself, even sometimes foolishly. He always had to do it just to see what he could do. So that was one of my favorites.
I think I did that set maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I joined the elite team. I think that was maybe like 3 weeks in.
So that was what I loved about him, is that he never shied away from seeing what he could handle, and never backed down. Ever. He never backed down.
All right. We got some athlete questions. Looking for some hands. See a lot of no faces on here.
Dang. Come on, guys. Ask me about swimming. Swimming's so much fun. Don't you guys love it all the time? Don't you guys miss it so much right now? You should.
Okay, Haley. Haley.
Coaching.
Oh, I don't know.
Say again?
That was Kayla.
How did you deal with all your coaching changes?
Oh, coaching changes. That's a good question. For the last, 4 years now, I have not had the same coach more than one season. So that's been super interesting. I don't really know how many other college students do that, but every year I had to kind of adapt to a new plan of, how the season was going to look, what stages I was going to go through in training. But I think in the end it gave me a wider prospect on swimming coaching styles. So that was cool. I don't know.
Nice. Haley Volchek, you had a question.
Yes. I have 2 questions. 1, what is your least favorite event? And 2, what is your least favorite stroke?
Well, I did go a 5,900 breaststroke this year, so I can't say that breaststroke is my least favorite stroke anymore. I don't really know if I have a least favorite stroke, but my least favorite race would absolutely be the 200 breaststroke.
Thank you.
Who else?
Grace has a question. She
Grace,
typed
go
in.
ahead.
She typed it in. How does the second recruiting process that you went through work?
So first you need to so if you go to a school and decide to transfer, you need to inform your head coach, and he will put you in he or she will put you in the transfer portal. This big, online forum that the NCAA runs. And then from there, you're allowed to start talking to other schools. And schools probably won't contact you like maybe the first time around. You have to be kind of pretty proactive and contact them.
Nice.
Misty's got a question, it looks like.
Sure, go ahead.
So Tyler, before you were started with Bullets, how much did you swim? Weren't you involved in other sports, and what were those sports?
Yes, I was involved in a few different sports. When I was really young, I did the classic t-ball and soccer. And then towards middle school, I played lacrosse for a few seasons. And swim was sort of a 3 to 4 times a week deal for me. In middle school, that maybe changed up to, every day, but definitely no morning practices or extra weight sessions or dryland sessions. Yeah.
You actually, when we were talking about you wanting to be on the elite team, you had already signed up for summer lacrosse and were planning on doing your typical summer. And we talked about how that wasn't going to work if you were going to be on the elite team. You needed to make that commitment to be at practice, and you ended up, I think, you either got a refund or you ate the money on the registration fee, and just decided to go all in on swimming.
Definitely, I do remember that.
Anybody else?
Coach Steve, do you have any young Tyler stories?
Steve's on here?
He is.
Didn't even see that. Where are you, Steve?
He's hiding behind the beard.
There you are. Oh, sorry. I'm on my phone, so I can only see 4 faces at a time. How's it going, Steve?
You don't see the Vikings sitting amongst all those faces?
Yeah, right?
Rewinding to that time frame and talking about this young gentleman that is now sitting in front of us. I didn't jump in and contradict any of you because these are all the same things that I would be saying. He was always an ambitious fella. The only thing that I remember differently than all the other sports that you have been talking about right now, Ty, is your dad talked up the running a lot.
Yeah, he wanted me to run. But I didn't want to run. I tried it. I tried that summer before high school, but no way. It's way more comfortable in the water. Yeah, Steve, fun story about Coach Steve here. He has one of my earliest swim coaching memories. I remember one.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, it was a good one. I learned a lot of freestyle flip turn technique that day. Our regular coach was out for the day, and so you were kind of watching over our group, and you were just like, you're just going to keep working on flip turns today. And I remember getting a lot better at flip turns that day, Coach Steve. So cool. Yeah.
Sometimes we have to do what we can or what we believe we can't do.
Yeah.
Misty, did you have another question, or did I just not put your hand down?
No, I just thought that he had made that decision, which I think is kind of cool. It's not like he was gung-ho the whole way, but he still has been successful in college. And so I was thinking that was what the pathway looked like, but I was just clarifying because I know he had an interest in lacrosse, but I didn't know how involved that was. So
nice.
Thank you.
And anybody else have questions, swimmers? Before we wrap it up, I have one more question for you, Tyler.
Yeah.
You're a swimmer now, right?
I'm a swimmer now.
He's a swimmer. So taking a look back from age 6 all the way through age 22 in college, what has the sport of swimming given to you?
Just how to be good at something. What it takes to be good at something. I'm retiring now, very comfortable saying that I was a good swimmer. Not great, but I was good, and it taught me, the time, dedication, drive, practice, effort to be good at something that will definitely stick with me through whatever I go do next.
Well, knowing you not as well as Jeremy, but well enough through our years together, I know you're going to be successful whatever you do. You're an amazing young man, and we really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's nice seeing everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Tyler.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.